We heard from Michael that there is rampant change in your industry, but I'm a guy who in any given year will give about 120 talks to between 30 and 40 different organizations, and if there is one theme, it is disruption. But I'll give you my favorite quote. I love disruption as long as I'm the one who's doing the disrupting. So no matter how many years you've spent in the industry, you and I are in the business of being always new, bringing a fresh insight, bringing fresh technology, bringing a fresh solution, bringing a fresh self to every person every day. And so our data, as you heard from Stan, I'm aligned with a leading research company called the Environics Group, and we study what we call the 6 stages of new. You're going to find this fascinating. Every one of you in this room will go through these 6 stages on a regular basis. Some of you might go through these stages every day. Some of you might go through it every month. And here they are. The first stage is when you're literally a beginner. So if you've just started, if you're brand new in this industry, if you're straight out the showroom, by definition, you're a beginner. You're a rookie. Now, have you noticed that the most motivated people in any organization are the rookies? You know why? Because they don't know that it cannot be done. They have a very poorly developed sense of the odds against. They've bought into the vision. They're enthusiastic. They're highly energetic. And so have you noticed when you're enthusiastic, when you're energetic, when you're passionate, you have breakthroughs. You know the story. I know that if you're in this room, you're someone who's got to make multiple calls a day. And you know that when you are on, when you bring the heat to that conversation, the other person tends to respond in kind. On the other hand, if you're dragging your tail, if you're running on empty, if you're depressed, great things do not happen. So you're a beginner. There is such a thing called beginner's luck. You create the energy, you create the reciprocation. But at some point in time, no matter how excited you are, you're gonna hit the wall. The wall is adversity. The wall is the difficult client. The wall is the cash flow squeeze. The wall is a new competitor. The wall is adjusting to a whole new dimension of competition. You're gonna hit the wall. We've all hit the wall. And as someone once said to me, walls are there to keep uncommitted people out. So if you're in this room, you've broken through multiple walls, and I think besides the great entertainment, and besides being out here in what I thought was the warmth, because I'm from Toronto, right? We're all here to consolidate. What does it mean to consolidate? To consolidate means to do 3 things. The first is you're reviewing your market. You're reviewing what you've done. The second is to reset your sights. You're looking forward. You're calibrating what you need to do in 2017 to be successful. And then the third thing is to re-engage. You know, the Gallup organization, one of the world's leading human capital companies, says that only 30% of North America's working population are engaged with what they do, which means they hire out their heart and their head. So if all you do as a result of coming to this event is re-engage with what you do, heart, mind, body, and soul, you will have an immediate edge over 70% of the population. Now, then we get to the 5th stage, which is when you are the champion. It's when you become the magnet to quality and excellence because you've developed that reputation. And I'm going to talk about this today. Every person in this room is as much a brand as the company or the equipment or the technology that you represent. And when you're a champion, that's when you're in the zone. That's when you're in your sweet spot. That's when you're in the pocket, right? That's when you're so good that you amaze yourself. How many of you have ever been in a meeting where you were so good that you amazed yourself? Right? You were confronted with a challenging client. You were confronted with what appeared to be the insurmountable problem. And the thought just came to you, the solution just came to you, and you put it out there with conviction. And the customer or the prospect looked at you as if to say, wow. And you said, yeah, that's me. Right? Now, the final stage is a very dangerous phase. It's the phase that if you're not careful, you can easily slip into. It's called the plateau phase. That's where you become stale. That's where you become fatigued. That's where you're just going through the motions. That's where you become skeptical or cynical. That's when you say, oh man, another 7 years to retirement. Just get me there, God. So when you're in the plateau phase, you want to go back to being a beginner. And by the way, the individuals who can accelerate their progress through these 6 stages, they are the ones who stay ahead of the game.